If you think touching your toes or rolling out your quads is mobility, you've been sold a lie. Flexibility is useless without control. Mobility without strength is a joint suicide note. This is episode 2 of our arc on bulletproofing joints and mobility. Today, you'll unlearn everything the internet told you about stretching. You'll see why static flexibility rarely translates into usable movement, how loaded in range control builds real joint resilience, and how you can audit your own ranges so your joints don't betray you under load. I'll walk you through a framework that you can adapt to your body because we're going to give you the tools, but you build the machine. People love simple comfort lies. Stretch more to fix pain. Mobility is just yoga or passive movements. Roll until the pain stops. It's nonsense dressed as wisdom. They confuse range of motion with usable mobility. They stretch long but never test stability or control in the in range. So your knees collapse, your hips twist, ankles crack when it counts. Flexibility by itself is vulnerability. Then they build gadgets and distractions, bands, foam rollers, massage guns, like that's mobility. They score drills and copy paste routines without relating them to your unique limitations. How many mobility routines do you have that you couldn't even perform under load? That is the trap. People treat mobility as a magic bullet, not a tool. They expect a coach, a video, or a stretch program to give them mobility. That's dependence. Mobility must be earned, controlled, and self-led. Later, I'll show you progression, a mix of loaded positions and control drills that forces your joints to become usable through your ranges and not just peaceful stretches. That is going to be your toolbox. That is going to be your framework. That is going to be something you lead yourself. All right, let's get specific and a little scientific. Mobility is not about having a pliable body. It's about a nervous system that commands joints through their range without surrender. Control at range is a skill. The brain doesn't care how far your joint can move passively, it cares how far it trusts you to move under load. Passive stretching tells your brains the joint can stretch. It doesn't teach it how to stabilize. You need sensory motor training, drills that create feedback loops between joint position, muscle activation, and neural inhibition. You must learn to stop collapse and control force direction all the way out. And this is when we get into loaded end range remodeling. Think of your connective tissue, your ligaments, fascia, capsules as semi-elastic. They respond when stressed not by gentle stretching, but by applying controlled tension at the ends of the range. The tension triggers collagen alignment and structural adaptation. Passive stretch does little to reorient fibers under load. And studies do show that loaded stretching or controlled in-range movements result in greater gains in strength at those end ranges compared to passive stretches. Regular exposure to load near end range decreases reflex inhibition and increases tolerance to stretch, giving your brain confidence in those positions. And having your brain give you confidence is huge in any fitness world. The ceiling of your movement is often limited by fear and not structure. Repeated safe exposure under control shifts that ceiling upward. And that's why there's a certain mental or psychology of discomfort, because at the edges you feel shaking, tremors, fear. Your brain triggers protective tension. It's a barrier, not tragedy. If you confront it gradually and consistently, you will build sovereignty not by avoiding discomfort, by mastering it. So mobility is as much mental as physical. All right, here's your blueprint. It's not a script you follow blindly. Take what you want from this, adapt it into your own programming, and build. It's a set of principles and progressions you adapt. Remember, we're all about durability, adaptability, capability, both in body and mind. So phase 1, you're talking about gentle activation and you want to feel this. You want to do a controlled passive stretch with a slight load. Think half kneeling hip flexor stretch with belt tension, or mini band joint distraction with compression cues, small movements through range to stimulate sensation, like a squat. Use this to reinvent the kinesthetic awareness in your joints. Then you move into phase 2, your controlled in range holds. So do a light goblet or dumbbell squat to depth. Hold it at the bottom for 10 to 20 seconds. Do a Cossack squat hold, deep side stretch, and hold it at the bottom for 10 to 20 seconds, as deep as you feel comfortable going. Then do a loaded lunge hold at deep dorsiflexion. Stay in that deep in range under load, again for 10 to 20 seconds. These will teach the joint to stabilize at its edges and not just move through the mid ranges. Then you get into Phase 3, slowly dynamic control through full range. Eccentric loaded negatives into full depth. You're talking 3 to 5 seconds descent under load. You want weight on this. Small amplitude pulses at the end range. Do 5 to 10 pulses in the deepest versus mid range. So you're going back and forth between the mid range and the deepest point, not all the way through the entire range. Make sure to have controlled transitions. Slow push to stand from the deepest of range. What you're aiming here for is quality over quantity. If you only do 3 or 4, that's fine as long as they're good. Better at a few perfect reps than dozens of sloppy ones. We're again aiming for micro progress, small increases in hold time and amplitude. These things take weeks to really get going. If control fails, such as a joint collapse, shaking uncontrolled, regress slightly. Step back so you can rebuild. Make sure to keep a journal. Range achieved, control loss, discomfort. You are engineering your own mobility. This is not a workout because this is going to be just as much mental over time. You need to force your joint to hold itself in a loaded position rather than consciously doing extra drills. This has real carryover. In the next episode, we'll be breaking down warm-ups to actually prepare your joints for work. No foam rolling lies, no fluffs. Then later into tendon, ankle, and static control, you'll see how all these mobility principles we talk about weave into every mission. These are not your cookie cutter programs, they're frameworks. We're going to give you the tool and you build your own machine. So stop stretching and hoping, start controlling under load. Don't chase flexibility. Lead your own joint. Mobility then is not given, it is earned. This is Dr. Matt, and we are grit and determined.